Shalom. Welcome to the third segment of Sound to Print Learning, which has been created for the Onward Hebrew initiative. As a reminder again, it's all about the sounds prior to and then alongside the print. That's what sound to print means. This particular video lesson offers 5 ways of previewing Hebrew when working with prayers, blessings, or songs. Number 1 will sound familiar to you, and it's pretty straightforward. You begin by previewing the Hebrew of the prayer or song being focused on that day. So if you're working with Mi Chamocha, you start by singing or reciting Mi Chamocha. If your focus is Ashrei, you sing at least the first few lines that your students will be tackling. So point number 1 is start every lesson singing or reciting the blessing or song being learned. And so then, not surprisingly, number 2 is to conclude every lesson by singing or reciting what you worked on that day. It's, I guess, kind of like bookends. You begin and end by focusing on the specific prayer, constantly building the sounds that you want students to remember and connect with the print on the page. Number 3, if a student is stuck at the decoding stage, which means that all they can do is go letter, vowel, sign, letter, vowel, sign, letter, vowel, sign, it really is impossible to stay up with the prayers or songs at normal speed. The Hebrew, in some ways, has to be memorized. And I know that we don't like to talk about memorization, but maybe it's better to talk about getting it into our heads and our hearts. So you want to encourage students to sing or recite the prayers and blessings and to keep watching the printed page as they do. It's a great example of sound to print, literally hearing the words or watching what's on the page. And I do want to tell the story that I had learned Hebrew as a child. I had gone to Israel, spent a year in Ulpan reading, and my decoding was pretty bad. And then the summer that I worked in a Hebrew unit at camp, they told us to keep watching the page when we were in song session. And my Hebrew decoding absolutely improved. So number 3 is ask students to follow along. Number 4, so you really are allowed to have fun during your lessons as you sing or recite prayers. Do them loudly, do them softly. Try a voice like a mouse. I can't do a mouse. Or a lion. I guess I can't do a lion even more. Or vary the location. Sit on the floor, sit on the desks, or if it's allowed, ask your students to stand on the chairs. These variations may be changed when you get to specific lines or verses, or perhaps even when a set timer goes off. Number 5, it's introducing alternative musical versions so kids keep hearing the words, although the tune can change. You can consider setting up a listening station in the room that students can go to in between other learning centers you want them to work on. You can use your traditional tune, or you can include other tunes and settings so the students broaden their repertoire. Maybe you ask them to go to this place at least twice during a period, which again builds the sounds over and over again. It's all about the sound. So number 5 is that you want to introduce different versions. And that takes us to these 5. Let's sum up. Number 1, start every lesson singing or reciting. Number 2, end every lesson singing or reciting. Number 3, ask students to follow along. Number 4, have fun singing your usual version. And number 5, introduce alternative versions.